So I think we've all seen the middle-aged man who divorces his wife and suddenly he pops up with someone 15 years younger, or the guy who starts cheating with a woman that's half his age. As a divorce lawyer, I see this happen all the time, and I can tell you that it's not just about looks. For a lot of men, their 40s hit like a midlife crisis. They start feeling old, irrelevant, and ordinary. And instead of dealing with all of that, they go for the easiest ego boost that there is, a younger woman who makes them feel powerful again.
Shut up. Just shut up.
I feel like people have this misconception of whether it be men or women having like like prime years. But if you actually take care of yourself and keep up a healthy lifestyle, you wouldn't, it wouldn't be a set of prime years.
The average, the woman's prime is going to be between the ages of 18 to 25 in the dating market.
Yeah.
And what that means is that's when she's going to have the most likely of options to choose from. The older a woman gets, her options does not go up. 9 times out of 10, it's going to go down.
What up, gents? Welcome to TSG Uncut. I'm your host, Shaun C. Man, when I came across today's video, we're going to be reacting to a video by DD's Reactions. And this conversation continues to come up about the wall. And Kevin Samuels was famous for discussing the wall. And a lot of his critics and detractors were women who were mad that he was absolutely right. But the difference is they still think that their value is just as high post-wall as it was when they were younger. And this debate right here proves that no matter how many facts that you hit them with, no matter how much logic you present to them, they think that they're fighting us. But what they're really fighting is time. Do me a favor, hit that like button. And with that being said, let's get started.
Okay, I have a question. To what you stated. You said specifically about Tracee Ellis Ross, you said she wasted her prime years. Can you just elaborate on that? Like, how do you think she's wasted her prime years?
Well, what do you think a woman's prime is in the dating market?
In the dating markets? Well, I'm a woman. And since I know a little bit more about health and wellness, I don't think it's for a specific gender. I feel like if you take care of yourself and you keep yourself up, you exercise, you eat clean foods, you keep the cells in your body revitalized and fed. If you live a healthy lifestyle, I don't think you'll actually hit the wall. I think.
What? This woman says, if you do all these things, you eat healthy, you take care of yourself, you won't hit a wall. Yo, it's like saying, well, I believe if you continue to do the cosmetic stuff, get new paint jobs, maybe change the tires out a little bit, maybe go and put a new radio deck up in the car, maybe put some upholstery covers on it, I don't think the car gonna be a hoopty anymore, even though it's a Pinto with 500,000 miles on it. If you do all those things and take care of the cosmetic stuff, maybe an oil change here or two, I think that car isn't gonna be a hoopty no more. Are you absolutely serious about that? Statistically alone, a lot of these modern women are not taking care of themselves. If we're talking about living in America, there is a lot of obesity going on in America, right? Especially in the Black community, right? I've shown it. Other channels have shown it. Medium Man, go look at the stats that he's going to show you. We have some obese women in the minority communities. We have the most obese women. And women now are more obese than ever. They're eating unhealthy.
It's the belly for me. But other than that, you are an attractive man, but it's the belly.
So she can sit here, she's trying to predict the outliers on a situation. And the truth of the matter is, you can't escape the wall. It's not just about eating healthy. It's not to say that there aren't good-looking older women. The wall has a lot to do with time, wear and tear. And that goes both physically and mentally.
I feel like people have this misconception of whether it be men or women having like prime years. But if you actually take care of yourself and keep up a healthy lifestyle, you wouldn't, you wouldn't, it wouldn't be a set of prime years.
Something else that these women want to try to push to the side. When we talk about prime years being the years that men want women. There was a study done that says that most men, the average man, finds a woman her prettiest is in her early 20s. That's the peak years. That's also kind of coincides when a woman is in her fertility prime. But now you have women more and more stretching it out past into their 30s, and they only have a small window. That's why you see these women running around trying to get, save their eggs and stuff right now, because they're trying to keep that fertility window open longer.
Unfortunately, you're incorrect. Regardless of what you eat and things that you do, there's a thing called a biological time clock. For example, most women are going to hit high risk pregnancy by 35. No matter what they eat, no matter how much they work out. Obviously, maybe their eggs can be a little bit more fertile, but by 35, most women, your eggs are going to be completely destroyed. The majority of your eggs are going to be gone. Even for men, if you work out a lot, if you eat healthy, at the end of the day, we're going to have less. Our semen is going to be less fertile. We're going to have less, productive semen the older we get. A lot of men, as they get older, they have ED, right, which they need to rely on testosterone because their testosterone levels go down. No matter how much you work out and you eat, yes, you can lessen the likelihood of it, but what you're talking about is anecdotal. So basically what you're saying is, well, if the average age that people live is 80, but you can live longer if you eat the right stuff. Yeah, sure, you're correct, right? But we're talking about a general consensus type of thing. Most women by 35, no matter what they do, they're going to hit high risk pregnancy. And we're only talking about from a physical perspective,
right?
And from a biological perspective, but we're not talking about from a mental perspective, because let's be honest, most women that go from the ages of 18 to 35 are usually sleeping with men. They're usually having these experiences with men. So to answer the question, so I guess you don't know, and it's okay, I'm not coming at you. The average, the woman's prime is going to be between the ages of 18 to 25 in the dating market.
Yeah.
And what that means is that's when she's going to have the most likely of options to choose from. The older a woman gets, her options does not go up. 9 times out of 10, it's going to go down.
Yes.
Even when we want to talk about, a lot of women like to bring up older women, like, well, what about this girl that's a celebrity that looks attractive? She gets a lot of men. Yeah, but if you notice, men who date older women usually go for a woman that looks like a younger woman, right? Drea Michelle doesn't look like her age. Bernice Burgos doesn't look her age. Kim Kardashian doesn't look her age, even though it's a bunch of fake shit going on. But when men date, if they do date an older woman, they're going to tend to go for an older woman that looks younger. Yeah. Women wear makeup, women get Botox and things like this to make themselves look younger, because internally they know that as they age, they're going to look a certain way. And again, that's just physical. We're not even talking about the mental baggage that comes with women dating and sleeping around that a man has to deal with. The average age that a woman gets married in the U.S. is 28 years old. For a black woman, it's 31 years old, which means that most men are marrying women or dating and taking a woman seriously in their early to mid 20s, which means by late 20s, early 30s, these women are married, which would mean that it would prove my point even further that most men prefer women around that age group.
He's absolutely right. Look, it's not taking away from older women. Older women can still look beautiful, but let's not fool ourselves to say that the fertility, the value is the same from an older woman to a younger woman. Yes, that woman might have more experience in certain things. She might be more polished in certain things, but we're particularly talking about, on average, men prefer younger women, period. I don't know why women keep trying to change this up. This is not something that's in debate. We men keep trying to tell y'all that we do not necessarily find older women attractive the way y'all think, but women get older and they're doing everything in their power to try to stay young. They're doing everything within them to try to continue to look like they're a younger woman or a younger version of themselves getting older.
A family that if you want a husband, that you need to try to get that in your prime years, because you may not get it outside of that. That's all he's saying. Let's continue.
So no, it doesn't get easier for you as a woman as you get older. Most women destroy their prime years because it's all focused on go get your degree, F these men, have fun, hyper independency. Yeah. And then at 33, 34, they're trying to figure out why can't they find a good man. It's because most men don't want you and you're left with the leftovers.
So you're saying like prime years as far as biologically. I mean, by that same rhetoric, you're saying men, like you said, semen quality goes down, sperm quality lessens as you get older.
Okay.
And the same with women, you know, your eggs, the number of eggs that you're born with, because as a woman, when you're born from birth, you're born with a set of eggs that you cannot make later on in life. Like the set number of eggs you're born with is all of the eggs that
What's
you
your
have.
point?
So by that rhetoric, you're saying that prime years, you're specifically focusing on prime years based off a biological stance?
No,
Because
I
mean, everybody.
He said not just biologically too. He also, don't forget, he said mentally. Don't forget that. A lot of these older women have been through a lot of shit. And their mindsets are messed up. They grew up around these bitter ass older women. And they've been ran through physically. So mentally, physically, biologically, there's a bunch of problems. There's a bunch of issues.
No. I didn't say that. I literally said, it's like I literally said this. It's like it went one ear, not the other. I literally said, not only are we talking about biologically, I also mentioned the mental baggage that comes with women sleeping around and dealing with a lot of different men.
Yes.
So that's an add-on to that, which is to say, the more experience a woman has in the dating market usually is going to come at a deficit for a man, right? Because there's more usually negative things going on. A woman's femininity is not built. Femininity is preserved.
You have a bunch of women who, when they get with men and they're just sleeping with a bunch of dudes, their oxytocin receptors go down. We talk about the oxytocin receptors in terms of their ability to be able to pair bond with a man. But what we don't talk about is the same oxytocin receptors that allow women to bond with a man might also explain why you have some of these women who are unable to bond with their kids in a healthy way, which we talked about in our last video. Something that I've been meaning to say in these videos, but the more experience women have with other men isn't a flex or a benefit for a man after a certain amount of time. She about to be pissed because he said it went through one ear and came out the other, and she's seeing red right now. She not going to be able to get the point that he made because now she's about to be in her feelings.
But you told me I was incorrect because my point, I think it went over your head earlier when I was saying that prime years isn't just associated with just one gender. I said it's both in men and women. But because you're talking about based off the typical American diet, but I'm talking about someone that has a fairly healthy diet.
Her argument falls flat because she tried to say, well, I'm talking about a woman. What about the women that take care of themselves? The women that really take care of themselves are in a minority because most women in America are obese, period. We're talking about dating here in America. We're talking about dating in first world countries. There is an obesity problem. And I've said on this channel, if you as a man, you take care of yourself, you can extend that window. Our window, if you take care of yourself and your finances, extends a little bit longer than it does for women. But that doesn't include every man. She's trying to argue a point, figure out how she can be the exclusion. A lot of times in these arguments, that's what gets missed. When they're arguing, they're not arguing as in, hey, generally this is true. She's arguing for the exceptions.
They won't hit that biological time clock. Then you have options like IVF.
They will hit the biological
time
clock. Again, you're bringing up an anecdotal argument to speak for the majority.
Right.
But it's not an anecdotal argument. It's proven. If you literally take care of the body, there's a certain hormone that's responsible for giving you gray hairs. Now, there are some people that are just born with gray hairs, but if you take care of your body, you give it the right minerals and not chemicals, you can literally fight against aging, old age. Not saying that you prevent it completely, but
again, you're doing what a lot of women do, which is take anecdotal arguments and base it as the majority. Sure, I'm not disagreeing with you. Yes,
but now you're generalizing. You literally told me I was incorrect.
You are incorrect. You keep making the exceptions. You want the exceptions to actually be the rule, and that is not the case. Most people are average looking, period. Average looking doesn't mean bad looking. But when you talk to modern women, They don't want to be known as average. That's why they all say that they're 10s. Even though the woman could be 300 pounds right in front of you, she gonna say, I know I'm a 10. Women today cannot deal with the self-esteem hit that comes along with aging, that comes along with them not looking like the people that are desired the most. And this is why these companies are making hand over fist on modern women, because they just can't let go. They don't want to be like the grandmas of the past. They're fighting it.
Well, you are. You are. So,
but I'm not though. Prime years isn't just associated with one gender.
I never said that. You're saying that. You're putting words in my mouth. I never said that prime
but
years.
But when I said that earlier, you said I was incorrect. So
no. I'm saying you're incorrect because you're speaking on something that has to do. So basically, what you're saying is the general doesn't exist because there's a likelihood of the outlier happening. Probability versus possibility.
Right.
What you're arguing is possibility. You're not arguing probability. First of all, number one, even if your point was correct, it would be incorrect because most women in the U.S. are overweight. Right?
Yes.
That's number one. But even if most women were not overweight, do you know the average weight of a woman in like the 1950s or 60s? If you don't know, it's fine.
I mean, so now we're narrowing it down to people in U.S. I thought you were saying in general.
I mean, we can do any country.
Go anywhere.
I guess we're speaking on the U.S. because we're in the U.S.
Okay, I mean, I guess, but I mean, the argument is that
you're saying
she wasted her prime.
Don't change the subject.
We can get back to that, but
don't change the subject.
You didn't answer my question.
I thought I did.
No, I asked you, do you know the average weight from women from like the 1950s or 60s?
No, I don't.
Okay, it was like 100, and I think last time I looked at it was like 155 pounds. So if you look at the average weight of women now, it's like 30, 40 pounds higher than that.
Yeah.
Even when women in the 1950s and 60s were at a healthy weight, the point still stood.
Yeah.
This was the point that I'm making. So diet was better back then because it was less chemicals in the food, less GMO, all of this technology and stuff wasn't in the foods. Even when women on average were in shape and ate a lot more healthier, right? Ate wholesome foods, the point still stood that around that age of 35, most of your eggs are going to be completely destroyed. That does not mean what you're saying is not true. Yes, a woman who is in better shape and eats better, she can be more fertile as she gets older.
Right.
What you're arguing is a anecdotal type of situation. The anecdote does not take over the general consensus.
I guess what I'm trying to understand from you is you mentioned that she destroyed her prime years just solely off of just her bypassing the biological time clock? Because a lot of men subscribe to the belief that women age out.
That's not what I said. I literally told you that's not what I said.
You haven't met every woman that...
I don't have to meet every woman. Usually, we're in a different generation.
Okay.
Women are having a lot more sex than they were 40, 50 years ago. I don't have to meet every woman to understand that. For example, the average man is taller than the average woman. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Right. Do you know every man?
No.
Right.
It's generalization.
You don't have to know every single man to know that men tend to be.
But you're talking about physical traits versus mental.
No. I'm giving you an equivalent of a logical concept.
Oh my God.
She sounds like she purposely trying to not.
Too many of y'all women just don't get it. Y'all want to continue to argue, right? He laid out the argument. He laid out, hey, you can make generalizations based upon things that we know are generally true. We don't have to argue about those generics. Men are on average taller than women, period. End of story. And he laid out several generalizations and she's still trying to find how the exception excludes the rule, right? Like the exception is the rule. And that's not the way it works. This was the exact same problem that Kevin Samuels had talking to these modern women.
Midlife crisis, that's the lazy explanation. I've handled over 2,000 divorce cases. Men in their 40s don't chase younger women because they feel old. They chase them because they've been emotionally and physically starving inside their marriage for years. Nobody asks why he left. They just judge where he went. A man who's been desired, respected, and touched at home doesn't blow up his life for attention from a stranger. The younger woman isn't the problem. She's the symptom of a marriage that stopped feeding him a long time ago.